the devil don't like to be confronted. So we're going to say it like in Belize. Tell the truth or shame the devil. So that's what we're doing today.
Okay, let's go. I know Vernon and I were with grandma, and then Nikki and she was newborn. You're still working this whole time, still having this job. So at what point were we living under the same roof again?
Okay, it was like maybe 2 years, no, maybe 1 year after. I met somebody and he helped me get an apartment. After I left your dad, I was on full mode, survival mode. That's what I was on. So any other person that's trying to be intimate with me, I was like, let's just cut the chase. I have 3 kids. I need this. I need that. I need help. I need money to pay my rent. And I was like, okay, let's just do this. And then that's how I was from that time forward.
Wow. So you kind of like closed off your heart.
Closed off, stone cold.
Wow. So he helped you get this place?
He helped me get this little, it was a house right there. And so I got you guys back from your grandma and we lived there. But again, this guy, he had multiple women. So I was okay with that because, as I said, I didn't want him too much. I didn't want him around me. Like, I was scared to have a relationship again. So I just wanted your help. You could come and see me, whatever, whenever.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. But no real like, connection.
No connection.
Okay, so for a minute you're doing, it's just you with 3 kids. And then we have, who comes next? Maya. So Maya comes next. So what happens with that?
Maya came next. Again, I met another guy. He was from America. He's a Belizean, but he's from America and he visits, he comes and goes, comes and goes. So I was like, okay, well, I promise you I'm going to send you money every month.
He told you that?
Yes.
Got it.
I'm going to send you money every month for your rent and for your stuff. Take care of Maya, take care of your kids. So he did that. It wasn't much, but it stretched. I stretched that thing, like, along with my pay and that he was sending me every month, Western Union, I kind of made it happen.
Yeah.
I made it work.
During this time, so we're in Tiger Street. So now I'm getting a little older, so I'm having some memories. Where at Tiger Street for me was the moment that I realized how sacrificial it was for you. I remember this one time in particular that we were going to bed, and kids, like, they don't want to, none of us wanted to go to bed. So we're like, oh, we never eat dinner. Like, let's just say, we're hungry. So we're like, I don't want to go to bed. I'm so hungry. I'm hungry. We didn't want to go to bed. And I remember kind of peeking out the door and seeing you, like, on the phone, making calls, trying to figure stuff out. And next thing you know, we have some food. So you call us out the room, we're eating. And I remember sitting at the table eating, and I'm studying you, but I'm like, you're not eating. And I think that was the first moment I realized, like, oh, okay, we don't have it like that, to the point to where my mom can't even eat, but she's making sure we're eating. And I think for me, that's when my heart started turning towards you.
Don't make me cry.
I'm sorry. It was a real moment. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah. I have to call one of my confession. This is my confession. To call one of the guys that I was dealing with and ask him to bring us some food.
Did you not have an appetite, or were you not hungry, or it just wasn't enough?
It wasn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. That was the moment for me that I realized how sacrificial it was for you. Here's the thing, right? You're going through all of this, yet there's people always living with us.
Yes.
Cooped up in this little, whatever you had was open to certain family members and certain friends. I used to wonder this as a child. We don't have enough. Why are you to let people in? Why are they coming to live with us? We barely even. So what was that? What was that about?
I don't know. I guess I just feel like it could be me out there. Like I just wanted to help people.
Mm,
I mean, I always thought about it. I'm like, it could be me and you guys out there, and I would want somebody to take us in.
yeah. One thing I remember too, like, man, you were that mom that once we have a little bit of anything, you putting it into your kids. You know, you buying us stuff, you doing our hair. I remember y'all, this woman used to send us down the street to pick these flowers and used to blend them up and do like a hair treatment on us all the time. It stinks so bad. I'm like, why we gotta do this? Like, you would always be investing in us, and it would be things, even if you can't afford it, we're gonna figure it out. Like, oh, I can't take my kids to get their hair done. I'ma do it. Oh, their hair is splitting. I'm gonna fix it. Da-da-da. You know, to the point where you used to sew clothes, used to sew stuff, used to sew curtains to hang in the house,
Yeah.
like, so all the time at the library. Listen, who Betty Crocker? Who?
You did pretty well.
Okay,
Yeah.
this woman, like, when I say a woman of all trades, like
Martha Stewart, who?
Martha Stewart, who? Okay, you figured it out. And so that's some of the things that I remember always being taken care of, even though we didn't have much. When I tell you every Sunday that you would be ironing them uniform to perfection, that's the steam to go, iron, making sure that we look presentable. So then, Mom, enters Joshua and Tracy to the equation. So talk to me a little bit about that time frame.
Okay. So it didn't work out with Maya's dad. Him sending me money. He stopped sending money. He was upset at me because I found somebody else. So he quit helping me with Maya. And so I have this other guy from America that promised me stuff. Like, yeah, I'm going to help you. I'm going to send you money. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, yada, yada. And so I was like, yeah, but I need this, I need that. I just cut again to the chase.
Yeah.
Like I was so serious in these relationships. I was so militant. Like, this is what I need. This is what I need to be doing. And this is what you need to do. You need to help me. If not, bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, it was survival mode. I need to feed my kids. They can't go hungry.
Yeah.
I can't go hungry. I need a roof over my head. It was just, and at this time I wasn't in the Lord. I was still trying to figure it out. Like, even though I gave my life to Jesus when I was 16 or 17, then I went through all this stuff. Then I had kids. I was just in and out, in and out. But I always remember to pray. I always remember still I was praying my Psalms. I was reading my Psalms and just praying and praying to God. I would take time out and then still go to the Catholic church, and I would sit in the back because our house was close to that Catholic church. I used to go there and I just sit in the back and pray and pray and pray before I go to work early in the morning. So I was like in and out with the Lord still.
Okay.
I didn't know him. Like, I didn't know him for myself. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. And it's funny because literally I was going to ask you what that time was like. And then, that's how you know the Lord is in this conversation. But, okay. So the guy agrees to, your stipulations. And so now begins this journey to where you get an opportunity to come to America. So let's talk a little bit about it.
I got pregnant with him, for him. So he promised, you could have the baby in America. I'm like, I'm not going to America and leaving my kids. You have to if you want me to go to America, you have to take me and my 4 kids to America. Right?
Wow. Yeah.
He agreed. he said, okay. So it was a process though. I had to leave you guys here for 2 years. I mean, here, you guys to be in Belize
Yeah.
for almost 2.5 years. I went over there, had Joshua. I wanted a relationship with him, but he was a drug dealer. He bought me this house. We was living in this house, but he wasn't there. It's a cycle. He wasn't there.
Wow.
So
I have a question real quick. What was it about him that made you now want a relationship with someone? Because from dad, it was like blank slate, and then it was all like kind of transactional. And then to him, it's more like now your heart's kind of turned towards him. What was it?
I was just tired. And I'm like, let me try this love thing out, you know?
Wow.
Because all the while in my head is men are dogs. That was me. I'm like, I had this spirit of abandonment from my dad and leaving us with these people to take care of us. So now I'm like, love? I don't want to say it, but I used to say blank love. Love is not real, you know? So with with him, I liked him, had feelings. Like all of a sudden, oh, this is how it feels to love somebody or like somebody.
Wow. What did he do though?
He kept his promises. He did not. He was dependable. Not he was different from all the other guys.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
He kept all his promises. He did what he said he was going to do.
It's interesting that though we're in a cycle still, because he's not leaving you without food like my dad. He's providing, he's giving you a house, but physically he's still
not
not there
there.
like my dad. So what was that
He wasn't there
tension
like
like?
my dad. You know. You see that cycle? You see that? That's crazy.
Did you just say to yourself, well, he's not physically here like my dad or my kid's father, but at least he's providing financially? Like, did you
Yes.
just kind of have to accept it?
Gradually, I accepted it because I kind of went back into survival mode because my big thing is I wanted you guys here in America.
Okay.
So I accepted it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let it be what it is, so he could fulfill the promise. He told me he's gonna get you guys over here.
As a child, I didn't really know how long because, we don't really count the time as kids. But, here you say potentially 2 years, 2.5. What was it like for you being here? Joshua was here with you, and then us four are in Belize. So, what was that like for you as a parent? Because I want to give you this time to kind of talk about that a little, because I've told my part of the story of what that was like for me. And there's so many people that tell their part being the children, but I don't hear often from the parents, because it was an experience that we were both going through. So, what was it like on your side?
Well, on my side, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard because here I am. I have this child born here. He's doing good. And I'm like thinking about you guys. If you guys are eating, he's eating. He has a shelter. He's loved. And I'm like, are you guys getting love? Are you guys having food? Are you guys having clothes? Because even when I used to send stuff for you guys, the people, they don't give it to you.
Yeah.
So,
But you didn't know that at the time. Yeah.
but I kind of suspected. Kind of suspected.
What made you suspect it?
Because I heard stories, from people. Yeah. So it was hard. Even because I know Maya wasn't with you guys, so I even worried about Maya because Maya was staying with somebody else, with her godmother, and then you guys stayed with total strangers. I don't know what I was thinking. Left my kids with total strangers. So it was hard. At this time, my life with God was nothing. Like I stopped praying, I stopped opening my Bible, I stopped doing all of that. It was like a blank phase when you guys wasn't with me. it was blank. Everything felt autopilot, like I was on autopilot.
Mhm.
And I felt like I was all the way deep down in a well somewhere, echoing. Like I wasn't, every day I wasn't in my right mind. Like I was
Wow.
just like going, going,
Yeah.
going, 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 wishing, hoping, hoping,
Yeah.
wishing. Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. So then the day comes where he keeps his promise.
Yeah, he kept his promise. He got you guys plane tickets.
Mhm.
You guys went through a lot. You had to go to the to get your visa with
Mhm.
your auntie.
Yeah.
He even bought your auntie's ticket,
Yeah.
and you guys said, "Coming to America."
How was that? How did that feel for you?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I could not wait to see you guys. That all that night I did not sleep. It's like it was so awesome.
Yeah.
Remember,
Uh-huh.
Maya didn't come with you guys.
Oh yes. So Maya didn't come. Why?
Maya didn't come because her dad had applied for her citizenship, and he said to if once he start the papers, she can't come. She has to wait for the papers to process.
Okay.
So he told me to wait, and then he got mad at me. So he kind of delayed the papers. He stopped the papers like from really
Going through.
going through.
Yeah. Maya sees 3 of her siblings get on the plane to go, and she has to stay.
Yeah.
Was there a conversation, or was she too young? Because I remember she was tiny.
She was really young. I tried to explain to her,
Yeah.
but I know she didn't understand.
Yeah.
She didn't understand.
Yeah. So we're in Compton. You have majority of your kids.
Yeah.
You're still working. Miss Akele showed up. Miss Akele, that's who we're talking about. Joshua and Tracy's dad. Like, he definitely.
Rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. And I always used to say, like, Miss Akele, my favorite stepfather. My favorite stepfather. And it's interesting. The reason why you loved him is the same reason I did. Because when my dad at the time didn't keep his promises, here this man was not even my dad, and I saw him keeping promises.
Yeah.
I saw him saying, okay, tonight I'll bring you this, and he'd come and he actually bring it. Like, that was the first man that actually showed me what it was like to have a promise kept. And so that's interesting. That's the same reason that I loved him, even with all his crazy quirks and stuff. But the relationship doesn't work out with him, right? Ultimately. And there's some things that happen to cause us to move from Compton. So can you share a little bit about that?
So, as I mentioned earlier, he was a drug dealer. So the police finally caught up with him, and he had to go back to Belize, and we had to move from that house. So we moved from that house. He left me a whole bunch of money and a roll of money and a car. And so I had to find somewhere. Mind you, I don't have any papers. I was not a citizen of America. I didn't even have a green card. But the Lord just helped me. Even though I wasn't even praying, I wasn't even seeking the Lord. And he just kept me. And I found this apartment. I don't know how I found this apartment.
And you didn't even know how to drive at the time. Let's talk about it.
No, I knew how to drive, but I was scared. I
You-
learned
okay.
to drive in Belize.
Oh, okay. See,
I learned to drive in Belize when I was pregnant with Maya. I didn't learn to drive until I was like 30 something.
got it. So for me, that memory, it was almost like you did. That's how scared you were. I thought you didn't know how to drive because you were so. Because I remember it was a little white car he left us, and I remember you being and you trying to back out of a place, or I don't know what. I don't know if you scratched something,
I
hit
did.
something. I said, "Oh God."
It was just all new to me. Like
Yeah.
in Belize, in Belize, I could drive. I drove a stick shift.
Uh-huh.
I knew that busy, crazy traffic. But
Yeah.
in America, it's the freeway. It's different. It's so different. I'm like, it's so big, you know? So it was like I'm just learning to drive all over again.
Yes.
My heart was pumping every time I get behind the wheel.
Man. And so by God, literally by God's grace, part of the story that we didn't go over was what actually happened when the police caught up to Miss Akele. So we were at school. I remember coming home to our house raided.
Yes.
And when I say rated like off of a movie, all of our clothes thrown out the drawers, everything is everywhere. I was just so confused. I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. Maybe we call it Belize. Like it's not like we've been watching movies and we know what raids are. But anyway, so this day happened spontaneously. Nobody planned for this day. So at a moment's notice, you have this whole new responsibility in life.
Yes.
I know you're in a foreign country, but it's going to be on you to take care of these kids.
As I said, God kept me because the police threatened. They told me they're going to wait till you guys come from school and they was going to take you guys away from me. They was going to take you away. You, Vernon, Nikki, Joshua, and Tracy was a baby. And he pleaded to them. He was crying. He said, she don't have nothing to do with this. She don't know about this. Which I knew, And he was like, man, please just leave her alone. Leave her out of this. She don't have anything to do with this. And I don't know what he did, but they was there for a long time. But I think he paid them off. I think so. I think he bribed them.
Yeah.
And they finally just left. They left. And then he said, I gotta go. I gotta leave. I gotta leave in 2 days. So the following day he was so out of it. Like he said, I gotta go home, gotta leave quick. So he just gave me a bunch of money and the car keys. He said, find an apartment and I'll help you. I'll take care of you still. He still promised he's gonna take care of me.
What was going through your mind, Mom?
I was like, okay, the police gonna take you guys from me. They're gonna deport me back home, or they're gonna put you guys in a foster home. Because that was the thing. They said they're gonna put you in foster home, or they're gonna deport all of us back home. Because they knew Josh and Tracy was American. I didn't have no papers. You guys didn't have no papers yet. No green card. So the thing was, they're gonna deport us back home. I'm like, Lord, okay. I was on the edge with that, and I was so nervous.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen like that. Like, he paid them off. I know.
Yeah.
Because they left us alone. Because they was very aggressive. And then, like, finally, they was like, all right. Like, and they left. Wow. He didn't go with handcuffs. Like, because they found stuff in his car. He had stuff in his car. So they had evidence.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. So in this moment, now he's telling you, I gotta go. This is the last 2 days. He's telling you what to do. What's going through your mind?
Survival mode.
Back to survival mode.
Yeah, back to like, okay, you can do this.
Yeah.
Come on, like, you know?
So we moved from Compton to LA, which isn't just like you found an apartment down the street. How in the world did you end up all the way to 35th Street? Because there's a connection there too with Maya's dad.
So Maya's dad, he said he's gonna help me find an apartment.
So you had to tell him what happened?
I didn't tell him exactly what happened. Okay. I just told him I gotta find somewhere. He's the one that helped me find that job, that apartment.
So he comes through. You know what's crazy though? So we're in Compton. Your job is not too far from the house. Yeah, it's literally around the block. We move across town because Compton and 35th Street is not around the corner. But you find a job walking distance again. Talk to me about how that even came to pass, because the Lord was just...
In LA, there's a lot of homes, like special needs homes, like for the elderly, for kids. Yeah, so there was one right down the street. So I applied. There I go again. Yeah. I take care of adults, diapers, change their diapers, feed, give medicine, do vitals, take them to their appointments, take them to their school, special needs school program, and help with meds and do all of that stuff again. Yeah.
So you're really out here in the ocean of America on your own this time. The ocean of America. Cause that's what I picture. Like your boat, Mr. Kelly was your sailboat. He was like, all right, this is what you do. This is how you do it. I'm gonna take care of you, and he was. But then he had to leave, and so now you're on your own. But the Lord, you cannot explain how you still had a job, walking distance again. You have a place,
Yes.
you have shelter, you're able, and this was
And
around,
I still wasn't serious with the Lord.
and you still weren't serious with the Lord.
I
So talk to
wasn't
me.
praying. I wasn't. And when this all happened, it was like a numbness that I had. I was so numb, but I was still moving, but I was so numb.
Just numbness towards like the reality, maybe shock.
Maybe it was shock. Yeah, I don't know.
Because that
But I
was a movie.
Still moving.
That was a movie.
Yeah.
And you didn't have time to even process it.
You're right. It was shock.
Jesus. So I remember things settling down a little. We get into a school. We you know, we have food. We're taken care of. There's not really a gap in the need. I feel like even though things were happening, it wasn't like, oh, we were starving, we were hungry. Like we had a roof, we had everything we needed, stuff we wanted to. Like you're just always working, always working. So this is around the time now that Mr. Ron is introduced to our life.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about how that came about.
So I had this friend. She said, I want to introduce you to my friend. And shout out to Marianne.
Hey!
So she introduced me to this guy. And same thing again. I'm like, I was straight. No nonsense. I'm like, okay, this is what I want from you. I need a green card. If we get married, I need you to file for me so I could get a green card and get my kids green cards, okay? He said, okay.
That's wild.
Survival mode.
Yeah.
I need to get what I need to get. I was just so selfish. I was so selfish. You need to do this for me because why? All you all.
You're good. Keep talking.
Because all you all, at the end of the day, you're nothing. Like these men, at the end of the day, they're nothing.
That's what your thought process
Yeah,
was.
that's like, this is what I need, man. Like,
yeah.
he said, okay. I said, okay. We're going to live together then. And he did. He got me, we got married. It was a lovely wedding. I can't say that I fell in love with him, but there was some liking there. Like, I was such a user, you know? But that's what happened.
Yeah. You guys get married. I remember the wedding. It was so extravagant. I think that was the first time I was in a Hummer. Like it was like really just very extravagant, the wedding. And then the marriage, you know, commences, and then you know, it's not so extravagant anymore. And I guess I could talk a little bit from my perspective because at this time now I'm a teenager, so I can, you know, I remember little things here and there, but I just remember thinking, you know, just feeling so bad about the situation, knowing that, you know, this person is here to help us, but it felt at times like he was taking advantage of us, you know. Not even us, but you. And I say this with all due, you know, respect. We're not here to bash anyone. We're here to tell the story in its truth, its entirety, but also preserving the reputation of everyone involved. But as a teenager, I remember having so much resentment towards him because I felt as though he knew that he was needed, and so he took advantage of that. Just in little ways. I think he had a really good heart, and even in my journey to forgiveness, like he was one of the people that I had to forgive, and the Lord started showing me, you know, the role that Ron had in our lives. If it was not for him, I would not have no papers. People, I would not. So like, girl, you over here mad at this man. He just was who he knew to be. it was not malicious intent. I don't think he woke up thinking, how can I destroy this family? I don't, he didn't have that type of heart. And so I do want to honor him in that way. But you know, we all have our things. And yeah, there were moments where I felt as though it was, you know, it was not fair as a teenager.
I feel like it wasn't fair on both sides of us.
Talk
Because
to
I
us.
was using him for the green card, and he was using me like he was blackmailing me like
Yeah.
a little bit.
He was.
Like, okay, so I'm gonna quit my job. So I go home and I see him on the couch. I'm like, what happened? Oh, I quit my job. You know?
Yeah.
But I just want to take this time to say, like, to apologize to him for just using him for a green card. You know, because at times I wanted to make it right. Like, we went to get counseling, and we did counseling with the church, and I was like, this time I was like trying to come back to the Lord and praying, and we used to go to church. I used to drag him to church, remember?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we're going to church.
Mhm.
That's when I started to go back to church. And yeah, I felt like it was on both ends.
Wow. I never
Yeah.
looked at it like that, Mom.
Yeah, both ends, because I used him and he used me. So, and then at a point in time, I was like, okay, I want to make this marriage right.
Yeah.
So I started to pray to God, and we started to go to church, and we
Mhm.
started to do a lot of like churchy stuff with him,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
And it was going good for a little while, but the heart that I had for God, he didn't have that heart yet. Like, he didn't see through the lens of the Bible and through the lens of how a marriage should be. Like, he didn't want to sit down and write out bills and do this bill stuff and these responsibilities together. So we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and we go back and forth. But I just want to take this time to say it was both sides.
Wow. It's funny how when you're on the side that you love, you don't see any error.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I was like, nah, this is not fair. But, you know, as a teenager or even as an adult too, because I forgave him when I was an adult,
Yeah.
I didn't stop to think about it that way. So, wow, Mom, that's powerful. So there's things that happened. That marriage does not work out. Talk to me a little bit about what
That
happened.
marriage was for 7 years,
Wow.
and we finally parted ways. You guys can remember that.
I do.
And the landlord came and said, "Okay, guys, you owe 3 months rent, and you got to be out by such and such." So I told him, and he said, "Okay, we got to be out, blah blah blah." Right? So I'm thinking like, he's gonna like come on and get somewhere else, you know, find somewhere else for us to move. But he decided to pack his clothes up and left before us.
Yeah.
He left us.
Yeah.
So me and you and Vernon, and had to get the U-Haul and get this stuff out of the house.
Yeah.
I left a lot of stuff in the house for the landlord. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Appliances,
Yeah.
all of that. Yeah.
we left, and we lived in our car for a little bit.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are back in this cycle again where we're in a house and we're left to figure it out. But now it's you and you know, and us, right? In this cycle. We're left to figure it out, but you figure it out. The
Yeah.
Lord helps us figure it out.
This is the time when I was like really crying out to the Lord.
Really?
Yes.
Mm.
I felt at the end of myself.
Mm.
I got to the end of myself, and I'm like, what now? Like, you know?
Yeah. This is also the second time that I'd ever seen you cry, like ever. The first one was at that table when we were younger. This time we're it was a full day of trying to figure out U-Haul stuff,
Yeah.
trying to get out so we're not it doesn't get taken to another level. So we're trying to follow all the stipulations. He said you need to get out at this time. So we're taking stuff out the house. We're so tired. It was me, you, and Nikki in the car now, and we're driving because at this time we lived in Cerritos. We're driving from Cerritos towards LA, and I remember you just broke down. I was driving, and you're in the passenger seat, or were you driving? No, I think I was
You was
driving,
driving.
and you just like broke, and I remember thinking, if my mom is crying, oh, this is bad. Like I seen you go through some stuff, girl. The police, the drug dealing, all this stuff, and not one tear that I see. Now maybe you shed tears behind closed doors, but
Yeah.
I didn't see it. And so I remember that moment. I think it hit us like, where are we going?
Yeah.
We're just driving towards LA. Where are we going? You know. And I remember that moment. I'm like, I went into like fix it mode, like, oh, what do we do? And I remember asking you, what about was it Aunt Ruth? I don't remember what that lady was.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was so long ago, but I remember I asked you because it was a relative of yours. I'm like, what about her? Let's call her.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't even talk. I think I was the one that called her. I'm like, look, you know, can we come stay the night? You know, we don't have nowhere to go. And she let us come. And so yeah, I think after that moment too, we ended up staying with some friends, Samantha and her mom. Shout out to Miss Mita for taking us in.
Yeah.
So we end up living there. So we're still going to school in Cerritos, by the way, because you're going for dental assistant.
Yeah.
I'm going for medical. And so we have to drive our little butt from LA to Cerritos. And one moment stands out. I don't know if you remember this moment, but we would be in the back. Sometimes we would be in the. I think this was before we started staying with Miss Mita. We went in the bathroom and we were like washing,
at the school bathroom.
At the school bathroom and
brush your teeth, wash your armpits.
Yeah.
Change your, underwears.
Yeah. We were out here. What was going on in your mind during that time?
Again, I don't know. I was numb.
A lot of trauma, a lot of spontaneous events, a lot of unexpected things. So we're going to school. We finish school. Now there is a time now where we start living with your boss. So let's talk about that time period.
Shout out to Miss Deborah Adewale.
Miss Deborah.
So she was like, "You're what? You're sleeping in your car?" She found out. I don't know how she found this out. And then she said, "You could come stay with us, with me and my husband." She had a nice house, and then we went there.
Yeah.
We stayed there for like 6-7 months.
For a while.
Like for a long while until we get a apartment.
Yeah. She took us in. All your kids. I remember we were in one small room, and it was me, you, Tracy, Joshua, Nikki. Yeah, because and
was staying with a friend.
And Maya was with us too. Yeah, Maya was staying with us too. So it was all of us in this one room, but we were so happy. We were so excited that we had some type of stability again, right? So then you get on your feet.
Yeah, continued working for Miss Deborah, and Vernon joined us. I couldn't afford the apartment in California. The apartments are so expensive. So me and Vernon came together and we rent this nice, big apartment. It was huge.
So we're in Hawthorne. We are renting this place. Everything's fine. I move. And somehow y'all end up coming to Houston. So talk to me about that decision.
Because you moved with your business that you was developing. So we decided that we're gonna come here and help you. So Maya moved first to help you in the office. And then I'm like, I had this talk with God. I was like, this is, I just need a reset. I need a change. And I'm like, I know it's gonna be best for me if I move out of this situation.
Wow.
Because I was still looking for love in all around places. I was still going to the clubs, dating these men, and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna move and help my daughter.
Yeah.
That was 2014. We moved to Texas.
Yeah. So you moved to Texas, and man, your relationship with God just starts blossoming.
Mhm.
Let's talk about it because it's not glamorous when you move here.
Nope. So I didn't have a car. I didn't have no means of transportation. I didn't have money.
Mhm.
Didn't have a job. So I tried, to first I went to get food stamps and to get me on my feet.
Yeah.
Then I found a job, and me and Maya we worked at Panda Express for a whole year.
Yeah.
So, but it was hard. This one time, this van was following me after. This white van was following me after I got off the bus. I'm like, oh my gosh! But you know what? God was with me
He was.
all this time. When I look back, and I'm like, God, even though I was like, not paying you no mind, not worshiping you, not praying, not going to church, not doing what the word says, you was with me all this time. So I found this job. Me and Maya worked at Panda. You was in Austin,
San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Mhm.
And from there, you moved back to Houston, and then we moved to this apartment here on Aldine Westfield. Even how we got this apartment was crazy.
Okay, because that was a whole story.
Tell it.
Because first of all, the lease was about to be up. And when I had initially rented the place, it was only supposed to be 3 people staying there, right? Me and 2 roommates. And so like they had found out it was a whole family in there. So they're already giving me pushback with that. And so so the lease was about to be up, and so we're like, where are we gonna go? We need to find somewhere to go. This is around the time that the Lord tells me, like, you need to go back to Houston. This business stuff is not going to work out. Like, you're chasing this. You didn't even ask me if this is what I want you to do. So at this time, I didn't really have like a stable job. I was doing like random. I was still kind of like, I think I was still kind of trying to do a campaign here in Houston for a different office just to make like something. But really, it was just off of your Panda Express salary, and I think, like you said, Maya, because Vernon stayed in LA, so it was really just us. And Nikki wasn't working yet at the time. Neither Joshua and Tracy, they were so young. And so I'm like, I remember being so scared, like, where are we gonna go? I remember we're driving around, and I was just in this neighborhood the other day, and the Lord brought it to my remembrance. Remember we went to look at a house not too far, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna have faith.
Yes.
We're gonna get into this house. We're gonna, we're in an apartment right now. We're gonna get into a house. So we go and look at this house. It's so beautiful. We're praying, declaring stuff in this house. Y'all, it don't work out. We don't get the house. And I remember it was like 2 days before we had to leave. Literally 2 days before I had to leave, I went and I parked at this church that you guys will hear this testimony about this church one day. I would usually go park there and pray. So I went in there and I sat there like, Lord, where are we gonna go? I have no idea where we're gonna go. And I remember this is when the pastor met me out there. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I just told him like, I'm just praying because I don't know where we're gonna move to. I told him the situation. He prayed with me. The day comes, right? So we pack up everything out of the apartment, everything, and we're just driving around looking for a place to live.
Yeah.
This is so crazy. We're like, we have no idea where we're about to go. Yeah. And we end up on the street. Is that Aldine Westfield? Hirschfield, yes. But the main street is Aldine Westfield. So we end up on Aldine Westfield. And when I tell you, Mom, I don't even know how we saw that sign because the apartments weren't on the main road. It was, you had to travel. It was tucked away in the back with a lot of forest, right?
Yes. All the trees and the deers in the back there.
Yes. But there was this sign and I guess it was a red light. We're just looking around, and one of us saw the sign. Yeah. We end up pulling in. This had to be, I want to say it was a Friday, like a Friday afternoon,
I don't
almost
remember what
evening.
day it was.
It was the last weekday because I remember telling her, like, we don't have nowhere to go. So we need to know, like, we want, what do we need to do to get back the response today?
The leasing agent.
Exactly. So we had so much favor with that leasing agent. It was like we didn't really have much income.
It was like we have a dog, and she said it's okay.
Yes, and it was a bunch of us, and so she literally went to work for us. So we hung around. We waited to hear back because we literally didn't have nowhere else to go, and so she got back.
We did everything she asked us to do. Get the rental. Insurance.
Insurance.
We needed rental insurance. We needed a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes, on the spot. We're gonna say we can't leave here without figuring it out because we don't know where to go. And she was so helpful. So that day, it was the same day I think towards the evening because I don't remember sleeping in the car that night. It wasn't it the same day we got the approval.
The same day, and then the apartment did not have any heat.
Oh,
and
yes.
So we spent the first night. It was so cold. But they gave us heat like 2 days after.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. They was still doing like some repairing in there.
Yeah, because it wasn't fully ready. But the fact that we needed a place, she was like, okay, y'all could go, but there's no heat, there's no this. And I just remember getting those keys and thinking to myself, Lord.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
Like, how did this really happen? And so I remember walking today. It was such a beautiful apartment, aside from the roaches.
Shut up.
We was loving our little apartment. We didn't care. We said, send them exterminators. It's cool. We can take care of this. That's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a beautiful time seeing God's hand. But during this time, Mom, I would say that this is the time I started because now I'm back. I'm not back in Fort San Antonio. I'm spending a lot more time here, and I'm noticing you in your word more. I'm noticing you starting to take walks by yourself. I'm noticing like these little changes in you. So was it at this point the relationship with the Lord started getting deeper?
Yes.
Okay.
Deeper. I remember I was like 230 pounds, and I'm like, I don't feel right. Like I'm short of breath. I'm like not moving how I'm supposed to move. I have headaches. I'm like, I need to lose weight. So I started to walk the apartments early in the morning, and I just started to have my time with the Lord and have time to exercise and just develop me, like my relationship with God, and trying to make this body the temple of the Lord, you know? I used to even visit churches around the neighborhood. Like I would just walk in churches on a Sunday morning, and I'm like, okay, I don't feel this one. Nobody's saying hi to me. Okay.
Yeah.
One of them, I was like this, sleeping.
No.
It was so boring. Like, okay. So I tried to find churches in the neighborhood.
Wow.
Until Keita told us about Get Rap Church.
About who?
Get Rap.
About what?
Shout out to Pastor Juan and Ruthie, Pastor Todd and Pastor Tanya.
All of y'all, man. So, okay, so we start going to Get Rap. What is it different about Get Rap?
It's the people. When you walk in, I can't forget. I could never forget the hugs, the hello, how are you? You know, it's not. It doesn't feel fake. It's just genuine people like me and you, like-minded, love Jesus, and just love on people. Yeah,
and it is here at this church where I started noticing that through some connections, you started pursuing healing. I remember seeing you do the Journey U class. We could talk a little bit about that because there had been a lot and some stuff we didn't even touch on here today that you've been through, experienced, seen, been shocked by, traumatized by. I never really had a chance, a moment to stop and process because you had children depending on you. So now here we are, your children are all grown, and now you have the first time to kind of stop and process. What's that like?
Stop and process. That was like a tranquil breeze, you know? It's like, okay, I need to put everything down. Like, all the weight have been lifted off my shoulders, you know? And just to be in the presence of the Lord, like, and to process all that I've been through, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes in the class, in the journey, I didn't want to bring that stuff up. Like, and they say, you have to bring it up. You know, it was just a 6-week class, and it brought a lot of stuff to surface. That trauma, abandonment issue, daddy issues, mommy issues, you know, all that stuff. And then I see the reason why I do the things that I do when I join the Genesis process at Get Rap Church. That
now known as Change Group.
Yeah, so that really, really brought a lot of things to light. And helped me on my journey with my issues, my traumas, my neglect, my abandonment issues, you know. And the main number one thing was forgiveness. You know, I had to forgive everybody, you know, go through that process of forgiveness. So
what was forgiving yourself like?
Forgiving myself was hard because I still had that guilt of leaving you guys back home for such a long time, you know. Especially that guilt with Maya, because she was the one that was there for the longest. We left her, you know, trying to, that was, even, that was so bad. Like, even sometimes I still have a little bit of guilt, but I've asked Maya one time, I said, forgive me, you know, for leaving you.
Yeah, because I think so often, like, I get the whole, like, forgiving other people, and that's biblical. That's a command, you know, forgive those so I can forgive you. Like, but I think sometimes we overlook the need to forgive ourselves. Because, like you said, just listening to your story, a lot of it stands out to me: survival mode and shock. And that was your normal. So how do you function now where, like, you're no longer having to be, because I'm sure your body kind of got used to functioning that way. So how do you slow yourself down now and say, look, I could take this one day at a time, not in survival mode? Like, how does that work out
it's
for you?
It's still kind of difficult because my body is used to it. So I just have to relax in the presence of God and just be in Him every morning, every day. Like, just take deep breaths and remember. I always like tell myself to remember where I come from and where I am now. Like, there's a huge difference. So it's the journey with God. It's been amazing.
A lot of homelessness was included in your past. Talk to me about when you bought your first home.
Oh. Wow. Again, that was all God.
Yes.
Where do I start? We moved from the apartment down the street, and you got married, and he was like, your husband, so kind, Jason. Shout out to Jason Lyles, my favorite son-in-law.
It's your only son-in-law, Mom. That don't count.
Anyways, he was like, Nana, do you want to come live with us so you could save to buy your house? I'm like, is this a joker, like, for real? Is he just messing with me? Yeah, but he was like, yeah, come and stay with us. Wow. And I'm like, no, you guys just got married. I don't want to be, like, all up in there. But I stayed here, and the process was beautiful. From the realtor, she helped me. Shout out to Bertha. And so that to me, like, it was all a daze. Like, is this for real? Wow. And I was going through it, but I was like, picture myself. Is this for real? Am I doing this? Like, when we signed the papers that day, and I'm like, wow, signing, you know. Okay, we're doing this.
Wow. The Lord.
Praise and glory be to God.
Amen. I remember us going on the land, praying, like, because this house was built from the ground up, and I thought that was so special. It was not like something that anybody had ever lived in. Like, you are the only one that has ever lived in your home, and it's just so beautiful to see, because seeing how much you had been through, that was one of my dreams. I'm like, Lord, I want to buy her a house. I want to do this, and I feel like the Lord was like, first of all, she's my baby. I'm gonna be the one to get her first house. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Okay. So now you're at Get Wrapped. You're plugged into community. You're seeking inner healing. You're deepening in your relationship with the Lord. And I see still the heart of a good steward. You join the team to clean the church. You do that for a few years. And the Lord just keeps stretching you to where now you're leading a hangout. And let me tell y'all real quick. So Mom, she is like an introvert type of vibe. Like, let me not even label her. She used to be, okay? So to the point where, like, she'll talk to you if you talk to her. Like, she was not the type to go up and strike a conversation. But since we've been at Get Wrapped, I have seen you grow from, like, sitting in the back, sitting to yourself. Now you're in the front and you're going to grab the people from the back. Now I want to give you a chance, Mom, to you're going to talk to this camera right here. And I want you to talk to someone who suffers with guilt, shame, because of their past, maybe some unforgiveness even. And I want you to encourage them with whatever words that come to mind. If it's a prayer, if it's a scripture, whatever comes to your mind. So I want you to give encouragement to someone who may have a very similar story as you, and how they can walk in their freedom and blossoming in the Lord like you've been doing.
Okay. To that person that's feeling abandoned, rejected, have some unforgiveness, some shame in their lives, you are loved by God. You are the apple of God's eye. And whenever you feel like lonely or let down by others, like I have, just remember that God is with you and that He'll never leave you nor forsake you. And just remember, like, all the things that you've been through, just take it one day at a time. Don't get like anxious, or just keep moving. Just keep moving and keep praying and keep believing and keep hoping in the Lord. Like, He is by your side. He's your defender. He's your everything. Just believe and just process it one day at a time. Because if you get overwhelmed, then you're not doing yourself any good. You're not doing yourself any good. You're not doing the people around you any good. You know, you're just being anxious and being overwhelmed for nothing. And the Bible said, don't be anxious for anything. So I just want to say, just keep on believing and keep on pushing. You know, don't stop doing what you're doing. Don't let depression creep in. Don't let anxiety creep in. Just take your burdens and just leave it at the feet of God. Take your burdens and leave it at the feet of God, because He knows it all, and He knows your heart. He sees your tears. He hears you cry. He knows what you're going through. Just leave it at His feet. Don't pick it back up. Don't do that. Just dwell in His presence and just bask and be in His presence, because like, without God we're nothing. Like John 15:5 says, like, He's the vine and we are the branches. So just take it one day at a time.
Thank you, Mama. We did it. Yes. Let me do my little outro. Actually, you want to do my outro? Do my outro, girl.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, and I pray that this episode bless your heart and that it bring back to your remembrance the goodness of God, and that you are blessed.
Amen. Thanks, y'all. Until next time. Bye. Bye.